The Acolyte has finally come to an end, and I think, after last week's review, I'm going to have to retract what I said about the Jedi not being bad guys, just being dumb.
Well, you were wrong.
I was wrong. Totally wrong. In fact, there are no good guys on the show at all. No one to root for, no one to sympathize with. Harvey's former PA, well, Leslye said she wanted to tell the story from the perspective of the villains. And well, yeah, she did a great job, because that's all we saw. Villains. Villains in a story about being evil.
Evil versus evil.
And while that could be an interesting storyline, learning about the Sith, the writers of this show were just so inept and so misguided in their story that there was nothing interesting or intriguing in this story at all. It was just flat out a huge mess.
What a train wreck!
The 8th and final episode of The Acolyte, actually called The Acolyte, starts out with Osha and Kamir at his sexy Sith lair right after she put the helmet on. And apparently she had a force vision. She has a force vision of May killing Sol without any weapon and decides that she's going to go stop May. Kamir decides to go with her. So I guess we're getting a team up.
You're teaming up with a murderer.
Now, as Osha and Kamir fly off to where Sol and May are, which is Brendok, we, the audience, get to see a mysterious creature emerge from the cave. Yeah, this is supposed to be Darth Plagueis. Darth Plagueis the Wise, the one who trained Darth Sidious, Palpatine. Very iconic figure in Star Wars, but honestly, you just look at this and it just reminds me a lot of Gollum. Now, from what I could tell, a lot of people were very excited about this very short 10-second clip where Plagueis didn't say a dang thing. It's really just a bunch of key jangling. That's all it is. But that's what a lot of Star Wars does today. Just, call back to something that people remembered or they used to like. And actually, it goes against everything that we know about Darth Plagueis. Especially, the Darth Plagueis novel written by, what was the guy's name? I wrote it down. James Lucano. He wrote a whole novel about it explaining Darth Plagueis. But, that was Legends. And, who cares about that legend stuff, right?
Let the past die. Kill it if you have to.
Meanwhile, Sol and May are on his ship orbiting Brendok, and just as he's about to explain everything that happened 16 years ago, consistent with this show, he doesn't get to. Why? Well, the story's interrupted when May basically tases him with Pip. She then jumps into an escape pod and takes off, flying away through a asteroid field, and Sol goes in pursuit. I hope they got their shields on, because those rocks are going to just tear through their ships. But, before the asteroids actually take out either ship, Basil, remember Basil, the weird little beaver creature? For some unknown reason, sabotages Sol's ship. Don't know why, and sends it crashing through the asteroids. This would actually seem to help May, but literally in just an episode or two before, episode 6, I think it was, he was trying to fight her. He was like attacking her. But again, this is one of those classic Leslye Headland Acolyte instant character changes that have become a classic with this show, I guess.
Classic.
It's classic.
Anyway, May ends up crashing onto Brendok. Sol lands there as well. And they both individually start making their way towards Witch Mountain. And while they're doing that, Osha and Kamir arrive on Witch Mountain. It's amazing how quickly everyone is able to travel through hyperspace in our new Disney Star Wars universe.
Light speed skipping.
Back on Coruscant, Vanastra meets with a senator named, Rayancourt. It's the same actor who played Martian Manhunter in the CW version of Supergirl. And, he's concerned about the murder investigation that Vernostra is conducting, and he's just generally worried about the Jedi's power. I guess this is meant to show some schism between the Galactic Senate, normal people who don't have Jedi powers, and those powerful Jedi in their secretive little temple.
I think the Jedi are a massive system of unchecked power, posing as a religion.
It's a storyline which seems to be coming in way too late in this show. Regardless, Mog tells Vernostra that they finally got a tracking signal from Sol over on Brendok. So they gather a team of Jedi to go there and get him, which, as I said before, fortunately is, only 20 minutes away from Coruscant, even though it's in the Outer Rim.
All right, I'll be there in a few minutes.
Back on Brendok, the twins, our sexy Sith Kamir, and Sol are all wandering around Witch Mountain, and eventually, they run into each other. Well, at least Osha and May run into each other in their old bedroom. May explains to her sister that she saw Sol kill their mother, Anesia. Osha says that May was the source of all of her negative emotions, and that's why she never became a Jedi. And then they just start fighting. Yep, another Jedi Fu Star Wars martial arts battle, which does not really seem to have any narrative purpose here other than to show some really cool martial arts moves that would make no sense in an actual fight. Then we see Kamir and Sol have run into each other, and guess what? It's time for them to start their lightsaber battle.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your lightsaber battle.
And this is the battle which Leslye Headland said that she wanted to top Duel of the Fates and the fighting in The Matrix, and she feels it did.
Are you fucking retarded? The hell's the matter with you?
Nope, it does not. It does not. But you know what? I'll say this again. I think I said it previously. For Disney Star Wars, it's probably some of the better lightsaber action we've seen. That doesn't mean that it's perfect in any way at all. There's some real stupid stuff here, like the scene where both Sol and Kamir appear to float down from a higher position down to the ground, kind of like you see in like a wushu martial arts film, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon style. And then Kamir throws what are apparently his boomerang lightsabers at Sol. And then runs at him for a Roman Reigns style Superman punch. Sol is able to fight off Kamir's attack with what appears to be some sort of explosive force push. And ultimately, he ends up, besting Kamir in combat. But that's when May shows up and takes his lightsaber from him. When Kamir tells May to kill Sol, she throws the lightsaber to the side and actually appears to break it since it looks like the kyber crystal is sticking out of the side of the saber. She then demands that Sol turn himself into the Jedi and admit all of his crimes. So he does. At least he admits to everyone there that he killed Mother Anesia because he thought he was doing the right thing.
I want him to pay for his crimes.
I did the right thing.
Now, like I said before, I don't necessarily think Sol was entirely in the wrong here because it did look like Anesia was doing something. She was basically turning herself and May into some sort of dark mists. The witches did take over Torben's mind. They took over Kel Naka's mind and used him to attack the other Jedi. And of course, they used some dark method to create life using the Force. All this, probably would have been a good thing for Sol to tell May to let her know what he thought he was doing was right. That would make sense. But no, we don't do that in this show. Instead, he just admits to killing Anesia. Well, it just so happens that OSHA's standing behind him.
Is that true?
So now OSHA's there standing with what you would think would be Soul's broken lightsaber with the kyber crystal sticking out of the side. And he's trying to apologize and explain again to her directly why he did what he did. But it really doesn't matter to OSHA because apparently she is filled with rage, as you can clearly tell by the expression on her face.
I kept this from you, so you could have the life you'd always dreamed of.
And then she starts to force choke Soul, with Soul saying, "It's okay."
It's okay.
And while she force chokes Soul to death, she turns the kyber crystal red. She bleeds the kyber crystal, showing that she is in fact a true Sith. Now, really, the way that this is portrayed, it seems remarkably easy. It seems very easy the way she does it, holding the saber and it just turns the crystal red. The only time that I remember, well, actually, the first time I remember hearing about any of this was basically through the Disney Star Wars comic books, where Darth Vader bled the kyber crystal and turned it red. It's not an easy thing to do. If you go back and look at that saber, it's not an easy thing to do. But I guess for her it is, because she's OSHA and really, I don't know, evil, interesting, compelling in any way. Any of those words work for her? No. You know what the worst part is? Like I say, this saber is broken. The crystal's sticking out of it, right? Right. But then, as Kamir approaches, she turns on the saber and literally you see it turn from blue to red. This saber shouldn't even be working at all. I mean, there's a freaking kyber crystal sticking out of the side of it. It's all misaligned. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to be sensible about this show. What a mistake that is. Anyway, the twins take off. Kamir sort of runs and hides. The other Jedi, led by Vernastra, have shown up on the planet, and she senses a presence she's not felt in many years.
You're alive.
Yeah, that's right. She senses Kamir, which confirms that he is a former apprentice of Vernastra.
Sorry, wasn't it obvious?
After Vernastra sees Soul's dead body, she sends the other Jedi in pursuit of the twins. They end up meeting up in the Force, and Kamir meets with them as well while they're all fleeing. And now we're getting to the end of the show where they have this emotional reunion, I guess. And then OSHA says to Kamir that she will go and train with him if he lets May go. Not certain really why she's doing this or why May doesn't go along, but this is the bargain being made. So then he wipes her memory and OSHA and Kamir leave. May is eventually taken into custody by the Jedi, taken back to Coruscant. Vernastra meets up with the Senate committee to say, this is what we found in our investigation. She tells him that the murders were committed all by Soul, who betrayed the Jedi to cover up his crimes from 16 years ago on Brendok.
While this is a terrible tragedy, it was the work of one flawed man.
Yeah, I actually thought this was a little bit of a meta dig at George Lucas. In the end, Vernastra recruits Mindwipe May to go after Kamir. And then we see OSHA and Kamir standing on the shoreline of the planet where his sexy Sith lair is, staring out at the ocean together, and it appears that they're holding hands because I guess there's a relationship. I guess they're a couple now or something. I don't even know how that makes sense. I mean, literally, she's known him for what, 48, 72 hours? He's killed a bunch of people. I guess this is just for all the Reylo fans out there, right? Yeah. But to cap it all off, because, you know, let's continue to like kill this dead horse. Van Astra goes and talks with Master Yoda.
We need to talk.
And that's it. That's season 1. That's the end of The Acolyte. And clearly it's meant to set up a season 2. The show hasn't been renewed yet. Of course, Ahsoka didn't get renewed right away either. Given the reaction, though, even compared to Ahsoka and the responses, it's really tough to imagine that this show is going to get renewed for a second season, especially when this masterpiece cost $180 million. But stranger things have happened, and it's really difficult, you know, to check so many DEI boxes at once these days. I mean, for that part, they hit it out of the park. So what do they have in the end? Well, yeah, canon's broken. Yeah, we knew that was going to happen. We continue to deconstruct the Jedi because they're not good. There are no good Jedi. But they're all dead. So who do we have? We have Maya and Osha and Van Astra, Mog, Basil. Maybe Yoda shows up, but I mean, take out Yoda. There are no likable characters on the show. Who is someone you rooted for? Who is someone who you're like, I like this person a lot. Kind of like Soul, but he ended up, you know, not being that great either. Maybe really misguided, but just, you know, pathetic. There are no heroes. Bottom line, there are no heroes. There's just a bunch of people whose motivations literally switch on a dime. Who would you root for? Who? Like I said, the twins, how are they heroic? Meg's killed a bunch of Jedi. Osha's basically a Sith. Kamir is a Sith, I guess. We're not really clear. He calls himself, he says the Jedi would consider me a Sith. Soul, of course, is dead. Van Astra, she's a horrible person, a horrible Jedi. She threw her friend under the bus and blamed everything on him. This is not Star Wars. I don't know what story is being told, but this is not Star Wars. Star Wars is about heroes. Star Wars is about good defeating evil. It's a very simple story. This has always been a very simple story based upon, you know, the journey of the hero. How can we have any journey of the hero here where there are no heroes? Ultimately, this is just, you know, some form of nihilism or lack of morality masking itself as some meaningful exploration into the nature of evil. Maybe I don't know. It's just a mess, a total mess. I can't see how this gets renewed, but we have finally reached the end of another fantastic Disney Plus product. I guess we get to see the Skeleton Crew whenever that comes out in December and hold our breaths for the Rey movie. Oh, of course, Mando and Grogu. So many good properties that Disney is creating with the $4 billion they spent on Star Wars. Questions, comments, witticisms down below. Click all those good buttons. See you guys next time.